Welcome back. My name is Dean, and we're ready to go. We've got a show for you today, and we always plan these things. Like, I actually plan them, and then all of a sudden we got to blow up the plan a little bit because the J6 insurrection hearing happened today.
Holy shit, Ghislaine just got sentenced to 20 years in prison, too.
And then Ghislaine just got sentenced to 20 years in jail where she cried her eyes out. She'll be 80 when she gets out, if she gets out. Like the world happens anyway. Yeah, big show today. We've got lots going on. We'll talk a little Ghislaine. We'll talk a little bit about the Ukraine with Alex. He's going to stop in around 4 o'clock because it's getting sad over there again, and we can't let go of that. And we need to raise some money for him. So we're excited for that part of the show. Excited to check in with Alex. It's not an uplifting interview with Alex today by any stretch of the imagination, but we'll get to that. He'll join us around 4, which is really exciting. Lachlan's back, Ryan's back, and Caryma is back because we've got a bunch of stuff to go over, not limited to January 6th insurrection hearing, special thing that happened today, which was like the most fucked thing I've ever seen in my life. We'll get to in a second. But it's also Convoy Week. It's Convoy Week, ladies and gentlemen, and we're all excited because we have a different crystal ball that we get to look into because of conditional probability and what happened in the last time. And we don't think it's going to be the same, but we think there's going to be some violence. And we're going to go over the whole thing with Caryma. We'll talk to some different people about Tamara Lich yesterday. She got rearrested just ahead of the convoy. All the conspiracy people are out there like, this is about being a political prisoner in Guantanamo Bay. Like, it's all the crazies are coming out. But before we get into that and this and that, I do want to talk about the January 6th hearing because we were just watching it here. Did anybody watch it other than me? Anybody take it in?
Yeah, absolutely. Is it still running and somebody's
just ended?
Okay, all right.
It just ended. No,
I'm hearing it in my headphones going, am I playing it?
No, Caryma's at a hotel, and she's getting ready to get her passport photos taken, apparently.
Oh, yes. Hi, my name's Caryma. I like long walks on the beach. My dog's name is Frodo.
I don't have as good a relationship as the passport office as Lachlan, apparently.
Yeah, that's right. Just gonna say anyway, Caryma is here, and it's Convoy Week, so we're going to talk about that. Hello, Caryma. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
We're really good. I do want to get to the convoy. It was the purpose of the show. Like today, I was like, okay, we're going to talk about the convoy, and I'm so tired of all this shit and all these people and the whole movement. I'm like, don't really want to talk about it, but we needed to. So you and I chatted, and we got you on the show, and we squared everything away, how we're going to deal with it. And then it was like, I talked to Alex today. And I'm like, hey, do you want to rock this afternoon? I was kind of hoping you'd say no because that's heavy content. So there's 2 subjects I really don't want to do that we're doing today. Now, the third subject that we needed to throw in the mix, which I absolutely fucking hate talking about, which is Trump because you get the ire of the crazies. But now I don't really give a shit. What I just watched on television was literally the beginning, in my opinion, the beginning of the end of this fucking movement. Mark Meadows is chief of staff to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is in major, major trouble after what I just saw. Cassidy Hutchinson was Mark Meadows' secretary or chief of staff secretary.
Executive assistant.
EA, that's a nicer way to say it. I don't want to get all misogynist. I know.
She was right there, though.
Like she was in every meeting. Every fucking meeting.
Right there.
And she heard it all. She wrote it all down, and she's like now the star witness. So they haul her out today.
She has a surprisingly good memory.
Oh yeah.
I want to play you a clip.
A lot of shit that you would have seen back then would have stuck with you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, dude, she just said she's still trying to deal with the trauma of actually doing that job and going through it. She said it. But let me play a clip. Now I play this Caryma. You'll really like this. It's got a real WWF feel to it or WWE feel to it. This is a clip and a memory that this just happened. Like Liz Cheney and the January 6th committee are like, tell us about that time that the insurrectionists were breaking into the Capitol building and Donald Trump wanted to go with them and lead the charge. Tell us about that time. I want you to listen to this. This is fucking awesome. There are a lot of really angry Americans out there going, see, we told you. I just happen to fucking love the content, and this is great content. I want you to listen very carefully to what Donald Trump did to his Secret Service guy trying to get from the Ellipse over to the Capitol building so he could legitimately help take part and lead this group of fucking crazies. Watch this.
When you returned to the White House in the motorcade after the president's speech, where did you go?
When I returned to the White House, I walked upstairs towards the Chief of Staff's office, and I noticed Mr. Ornato lingering outside of the office. And once we had made eye contact, he quickly waved me to go into his office, which was just across the hall from mine. When I went in, he shut the door, and I noticed Bobby Engel, who is the head of Mr. Trump's security detail, sitting in a chair, just looking somewhat discombobulated and a little lost. And I looked at Tony, and he had said, "Did you effing hear what happened in the Beast?" I said, "No, Tony, I just got back. What happened?" Tony proceeded to tell me that when the president got in the Beast, he was under the impression from Mr. Meadows that the off-the-record movement to the Capitol was still possible and likely to happen, but that Bobby had more information. So once the president had gotten into the vehicle with Bobby, he thought that they were going up to the Capitol, and when Bobby had relayed to him, "We're not, we don't have the assets to do it, it's not secure, we're going back to the West Wing," the president had very strong, a very angry response to that. Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel, and when Mr. Ornato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
And was Mr. Engel in the room as Mr. Ornato told you this story?
He was.
Did Mr. Engel correct or disagree?
He's choking his own security guys. That's how fucking jacked up he was on January 6th. That's how bad he knew he needed to win this election to stay out
That
of
was a rare situation, though.
Have you seen the training that those Secret Service guys go through? Like, that guy was probably just like, "Yeah, try it, man."
Yeah, go ahead. I'd love that. I'll take your throat out. Caryma, as a massive fan of the WWE, big fan of role-playing, violence, that kind of stuff like that, what do you make of that shit?
That sounds like a segment scripted by Vince McMahon. And in fact, as I could picture Vince reacting the same way, this idea that, you're all in my employ and sort of no concept of the obligations and oaths that may have been sworn and how even the president can't override or supersede. Wow, what a segment.
You know what I thought was interesting was it kind of was
Everything.
alluded to that. Yeah, it's fascinating. The thing that I thought was kind of interesting, though, was that it was kind of suggested that if he had marched, went to the Capitol with that group, that he'd be fucked right now.
Yeah.
And then he didn't. And so his staff, going against his wishes, actually saved the diaper-wearing dick. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that was their job.
That's their job. They were trying to save him from himself, and he was still freaking out on them. Like,
Do you know how huge this is?
This.
Do you know how huge this is? It is fucking massive. It is like go to jail, orange jumpsuit, rest of your life, treason, sedition, witness tampering. Dude, oh yeah, we know it all now. I mean, like all the dots have been put together. This is a small group of people. Mike Flynn, Ginny Thomas, Mark Meadows, who's going to get arrested. Mark Meadows is going to get arrested being a sitting fucking U.S. congressman. I can guarantee it. They just fucking talked about it. Look for papers or indictments coming in the next like 3 to 7 days. They were just talking about it.
It's the
like
states, though.
I know it's the states.
Cosby walked to Starbucks.
Very
today.
different. Very different. This is this is institutional stuff now. This is the kind of it's big time different. Like Caryma, legally when you hear something like that, and with your, if you can put your legal mind on for a second, not your gonzo journalist mind, legal mind.
Or your WWE commentary.
WWE/legal mind.
That's the default mode for sure.
Yeah, it'd be good. And you see something like this. I'm going to play this for you because these depositions have been going on for a while, right? And people are giving, and this woman was threatened, which is why they had to keep this quiet. I want to play this for you because what they really painted a great picture of is A, that he actually committed sedition, and B, that he tried to obstruct justice like an MF, right? So let me play you this next clip and we'll go from there. Watch
Here's
this.
another sample in a different context. This is a call received by one of our witnesses. Quote, "A person let me know you have your deposition tomorrow. He wants me to let you know he's thinking about you. He knows you're loyal and you're going to do the right thing when you go in for your deposition." I think most Americans know that attempting to influence witnesses to testify untruthfully presents very serious concerns. We will be discussing these issues as a committee, carefully considering our next steps. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I yield back.
Okay, let's just 1 second for Liz Cheney, who's a boss. She reminds me of Caryma.
Oh,
No, like not
She's
not
a
your
lot
cultural
whiter
views.
than you, Caryma.
I
We
don't
point that
want
out.
to be associated with the Cheney family if we could avoid it.
I know you don't, but just
There's
that confidence
big
to
girl
do.
boss vibes there, you know.
No, but she's got
doing
this
a good
like
job in this.
she's got a confidence to her where she's delivering. Explain witness tampering. Like, how bad is that if all that's true? Which it is, by the way.
Well, that's very bad. With the caveat that I am not an American lawyer and don't. Actually, I've never encountered witness tampering, thankfully, in my practice. But it sounded like he was saying snitches get stitches in what was being conveyed. And yeah, putting someone in a position where you're encouraging or trying to intimidate them into perjury really just it grinds against the function of the courts and sort of that truth-seeking purpose, and it's just super illegal.
What do you mean super illegal? Like I know that's not your. Again, take off your Gonzo journalist hat, put on your legal hat. What does super illegal mean? Like in this case, where you're trying to literally take over.
I don't know what their I don't know what their statutes or provisions are, so I wouldn't want to kind of ascribe a punishment without looking into it. But again, it goes against the whole truth-seeking function, so it's likely something that someone could serve time for if that were proven. That would be at least on the table of options.
Do you think on the table of options there is a gun, like firing squad gun? There's a noose to go to the gallows, or there's like bracelets for the electric chair. Like, are we? I hate to think hopeful.
How the first Hunger Games ended with the berries in the bowl on the table there.
Yeah.
You know what? If we were talking about any other country than the U.S., this is I wouldn't rule it out, but that is not a legal opinion.
Okay, it's just your.
I don't know. How did Jeffrey Epstein? I don't know. Things happen in the States. I don't know.
So these hearings are going on to prove for what purpose? Because
to show the American people what happened. To show the American people legally. So you have to take an oath to testify, and if you lie under oath, you're in deep fucking shit.
Yeah, but
so when they do it,
every time I watch commentary of this, Dean, we all get this is not legally binding.
That's just people are fucking idiots.
What the fuck's the point? No, this is on CNN. This isn't on Fox.
The DOJ is taking what's going on in these hearings and taking copious notes. And they're getting in touch with the January 6th committee, and they're asking them, can you please hurry up so we can have the evidence that you have in that big box and send it to my office so we can start handing out indictments for it. And now this happens first, the legal proceedings happen after.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
If this is just a presentation, this is it seems pointless to me. Why waste all this fucking time on a hearing? I understand when this could actually impede the process, the legal process.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is now.
He's going to spend his entire time talking about how this completely fucked his chances at a fair trial, and he's just going to appeal it till his fat ass dies.
Well, he already came out with it.
Yeah.
And he came out with a statement just now. He's like, I hardly knew who this person is. Cassidy Hutchinson. Keep in mind, he just said, I hardly knew. This is on Truth Social, which also got served with papers today for insider trading, by the way. I hardly knew who this person is. Cassidy Hutchinson is, other than I heard, very negative about her. A total phony and a leaker. When she requested to go with certain others to the team to Florida after having served a full term in office, nice one, I personally turned down her request. So
I don't know her,
but I personally turned down her request because she's a phony and a leaker, but I have no idea who she is.
It's unbelievable. Like, it is amazing. Like, you're reading this. Like, a 4-year-old can tell he's lying. Like, it's just unbelievable.
It's not often someone impeaches themselves in the same statement.
Yeah.
Like, just, I mean, this is an impeachment.
I hardly know her. Turn down her request personally.
Yeah.
Like, the guy is a moron.
Dude, even better. She's like, he goes, why did she want to go with us if she felt we were so terrible? Dude, you're going to fucking big boy jail. I understand. That's why. I understand that she was very upset and angry and didn't want her to go to be a member of the team. She's bad news. Again, he hardly knew her, but he knew all this stuff about her to know enough, Caryma, that she's, can't take her with me down to Mar-a-Lago. She's really exacting revenge for not being allowed to sit on the Mar-a-Lago beach. Yeah, that's right. That's what's going on. She's destroying her life, and she has to be in protective custody because she wanted to go and spend some time with you and Melania.
4 bodyguards walking her in and out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Of the hearings.
Yeah. Because people want to fucking kill her.
All those guys sitting behind her.
Yeah.
Are like, does this do more good than, like, all I'm saying is, does this do more damage?
This is the best. Are you fucking kidding me? It's incredible.
But I'm just saying, is this actually going to lead to something? I question that, because there's too many situations where people with that or even perceived amount of money get away with stuff that everybody else on the planet wouldn't get away with. This guy should be in jail.
But
how many times have we seen stories where the fucking guy is in trouble for stealing from charities? That's just one of 100 things. This guy is a criminal, and he was the president of the United States for 4 years. There's 20 women standing in line waiting to go to court
for rape,
for like sexual assault charges. Like, it's unbelievable to me. Like, how in the world? And every day I turn on the news, you hear more stories about people like election deniers with criminal records running for office in the state. Like, everyone with a criminal record in the United States just runs to some form of office because of this guy now. Like, that's all that's happening. It's all he proved was, okay, if you're a raging criminal, here's how you get away with it.
Come work
Do
for
it
me.
in front of everybody and get them to vote for you. It's fucking insane.
Caryma, you want to say something?
The futility that you are describing, Lachlan, that resonates. I think in part because we're seeing the collapse of just any semblance of trust in U.S. institutions, whether that's the Supreme Court, with Clarence Thomas, who is married to Ginny Thomas, who seems pretty heavily implicated in what's going on here. The office of the presidency it's not Trump who tainted it. I think that it's been tainted, probably from the conception of the country, but it's in a very bad state right now. And that's across the board for all of their institutions. So what is the point of any of this when the nation state is failing?
I don't know.
That's
it's
what
fun.
I'm wondering.
There's 330 million Americans that deserve to hear what happened, and maybe not all of them are interested, but this is their country. They should hear the story. They should
That's
hear
how they do
why.
the shit, right?
And you know what? If it changes a certain portion of those fucking Q-tards I'm saying a certain portion. I'm not saying all of them. Like some people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Caryma, one more point on that.
Yeah, just, whenever there are kind of issues of national importance, national tragedy, we have commissions and like truth and reconciliation function. And so having a committee unpack this, like that there is value that's inherent to that. But, the information is only so useful if it's not acted upon. And underlying your point, Ryan, maybe this will change some minds. It's possible. But, there's also this phenomenon of people really entrenching themselves in views and just rejecting objective truths and fact, right? So this is a crisis of epic proportions.
Speaking
you
of
guys
which,
have way more faith than I do.
yeah. Speaking of which,
God
we
love you.
have. Well, dude, we don't have much either. We just like breaking it down, and I happen to live in the Schadenfreude, so I'm good. Which brings us to another list and group of people who actually don't have it together enough to be able to tie their own fucking shoes. Canada Day. We're expecting a convoy to head to Canada Day. Karima, you're going back. It is Convoy Week, ladies and gentlemen. What is your plan?
We cannot applaud this. This is awful.
No? Okay, so I'll stop. I didn't know if I should applaud it or not. Well, I'm only applauding your courage because you're going back. I've been told by a few different people in certain arenas it's probably not a great idea to show up to this thing. However, what's your take? When are you going? Let's start there. What's your plan? Do you plan on leaving today, tomorrow? What's the deal?
So I haven't decided yet. I have plans in place where I'm definitely going to be in Ottawa for the 30th of June, which is the final leg of the journey for James Topp, who has been walking across the country to deliver a message to the Prime Minister, effectively. So I'm definitely going to be there for that. I might be there a little bit earlier, because accompanying Mr. Tops is Holdfast, the Peter Burgers gang, and just I find them fascinating creatures to observe.
They don't seem like walkers.
What'd you say?
They don't seem like walkers.
Nobody tell him he can
He has
fly
a
now.
certain level of athletic ability to walk that far.
Myself, I'll be scooting for sure. But yeah, so that's kind of tentatively. We're just going to see what happens. I would be surprised if this turned into another occupation. I think that there's a lot mitigating against that. But I do think that tensions are going to be high, and that there are people who participated in the first convoy occupation who are not allowed into Ottawa. So we're going to see a different crowd, people who either were there and didn't suffer any consequences, or new folks in the fold. We'll see.
You know who will be in Ottawa for it, however, maybe not in the crowd, Tamara Lich, who was, as Ryan pointed out in a great post at deanblundell.com yesterday, arrested again. She was boned again for, I believe, breaking her bail conditions. My understanding was that Miss Lish has been kind of hopping around. As Ryan says, we don't have the details yet. Tamara Lish arrested in Alberta for breach. Lead singer of the incredibly successsul
Blind Monday.
Blind Monday band was generously released on bail after being arrested in Ottawa. Legal scholars are calling this the finding out phase. Now, and it's a great piece. Go read it. Ryan did a great job. Follow him on Twitter too, at Ryan Lindley. You might have a difference of opinion here. Like, a lot of people celebrated when she got picked up yesterday because it appeared to us from her JCCF stuff where she showed up and got an award from Post Media for being the biggest piece of shit in this country. That's what they gave her the award for, freedom fighting for a whole bunch of people underneath the banner of theocracy for a bunch of people, not for herself. So it's all fugazi. It's my point. Is it the whole thing was fugazi, but she was not allowed to kind of coerce or kind of run around with different people that were involved. That was part of her bail condition. She can't talk to any of the other organizers. Well, there she is with all the organizers at this charity event. Where you had to spend $200 to $500 for tickets to go and raise more funds. There's Tom Marazzo, who's balls deep in this thing too. He's also part of the church and part of this weirdness. And then of course you've got her with Rupa. That's a fun one. I like that one. It makes me laugh. God, no. But she is continually flouted, it appears, her bail conditions. Would you agree with that? And do you think your thoughts on her getting picked up, days before people are supposed to arrive for another camp out?
Well, the timing is definitely interesting. I too don't know the specifics of what the charge was, and how specifically her bail was breached. We do know from the bail review that it's not the role of the court to really be sort of policing thought. And the social media conditions that were put on Tamara Lich are quite broad, but they are nonetheless in force. And, there is a perception, I think, that she has been flouting or taunting the court, whether that is rightly held. And, it could be a manifestation of people frustrated with the process unfolding, with a sense of, she should be punished. That all flies in the face of the presumption of innocence. So it's important to keep that in mind. It's only in exceptional cases that someone should be denied bail. Also worth noting, she, is being transported from Alberta to Ottawa. So like the warrant, the execution of that warrant, like that's a big deal involving important people who have made choices.
Yeah, it's a Canada-wide warrant.
It's a very big deal.
Huge.
And, happening right before Canada Day, where we are expecting kind of, something to happen in Ottawa. I can see there being sort of pros and cons optics wise for that. Not that that would be the prevailing or dominant motivation, but just as a reality, is her being in jail there, is that going to rile people up kind of in a protect our martyr sort of way? Is it going to be discouraging? Like, don't bother, people are still suffering for the convoy occupation. Like, those are all some of the questions in my mind.
Do you think part of it was engineered? Do you think, because if she broke her bail conditions doing that stuff, she's been doing that stuff for a couple of months now. Like, she's been running around acting like a tool for a couple of months. So if she broke her bail conditions 2 months ago and she just kept doing it, did they give her runway, or is this, do you think there's some strategicagicness to this?
Well, the bail review happened before this event, right? And it wasn't specifically dealing on that. I don't know if it's actually the JCCF that's the basis of this alleged breach. I did see her face on a flyer for some kind of picnic that appeared to be
always a
picnic.
picnic.
Yeah, some whistle stop or something.
They call them all picnics, but they're not really picnics, are they?
I think the Whistle Stop is one of these restaurants in Alberta where you didn't have to wear a mask through the whole COVID thing. I think that's what that is. Anyway.
Like Ontario's leaky tank.
Sorry, Caryma, we didn't mean to interrupt you, but we did.
No, that was it. Like, I don't know kind of the specific reason that she's in there. So it's going to be a very fact kind of dependent analysis, right?
Mm-hmm. The reason why I think this is ridiculous, and again, is because of the pointlessness of Tamara in this. Because I've always sort of viewed her as like the Lee Harvey Oswald of this campaign, where she seems to be the face of something egregious, but I don't really think she did anything. I think she just ended up being the one in the room that went, well, I'll speak to the press. You know what I mean? Like one of those. I'm in a band.
Given sense of importance.
I've got good stage presence. Yeah. So I think,
I was in a band.
Yeah, so
I'm good on stage with a microphone. I got the most experience. I've been in Blind Monday for 4 years now. I got this.
I get that sense. So what's the point of this? Is it symbolic? Are they trying to save face because everyone's been watching her completely shit all over her bail conditions? Is that what this is? And maybe it's a message to the group that might show up in Ottawa. Listen, we aren't fucking around here. Right? Yeah. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on, and maybe they're not so worried about that group sort of forming any sort of semblance of destructive or violent, I don't know,
occupation. Caryma? Yeah.
There's something to be said about the possibility that Tamara and some of the others are being scapegoated, right? And are sort of being used and set up as the example of, don't you dare do this again, which is not how our legal system is supposed to work. Having said that, we don't know. I don't know personally what's in the disclosure and what information they have on her capacity to organize, her role of influence. Is it simply that she was a mouthpiece, which is pretty bad in and of itself? Was she sort of an organizer? Did she have links to the brains? Like, we don't know. So you know,
how
she might not
hard
look
it is
like
to
much.
put together
but
a
you're
set
not-
list, Caryma?
It's hard. It's hard to put
Like, I
together
mean,
a set list for Blind Monday. It's difficult.
Do you end the night with Bad Company or the Doors?
Yeah.
Come on.
Or Zeppelin. Like,
Are they a cover
Black
band? Or do
Dog?
they make their
Yeah,
own
oh
music?
yeah, they're a horrible cover band.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally terrible. Like Blue
John
Monday was an
Oliver
orgy
shit all over
song.
them.
Oh yeah, big time. John Oliver took special aim at Tamara Lich's terrible music scene. It's like he fucking went after them. Anyway,
the
so
Disturbed cover was my favorite.
down with the sickness. Come on. Get down with the sickness, everybody.
Caryma, have you ever been in a bar,
Kind of R&B it up a
a
bit.
karaoke bar after 1 a.m.?
Yeah.
I'm on the
That's
stage.
what it. That's what it
I'm on the
starts.
stage at that point. So yes,
That's
I
how
know.
it starts at 7 p.m. when they hit the stage.
All right. I just want to play something because we're gonna lean into Caryma. She's gonna be there this week and this weekend. We're gonna be with her. Obviously, Caryma. You can follow her at Caryma Rules on Twitter. You can get her anywhere, including Instagram. I think she just joined Gab. No, I'm kidding.
I'll say it
I'm gonna join
now.
the Truth
I
platform.
think this
Get
is
her
a
Truth
bad
platform.
idea, Caryma.
Yeah.
Stay
No, it's not.
home.
No, because here's the thing. Like, I'm going to play a video because this is Convoy 1.0. This is a great collection. Caryma put this video together. And folks, if you want to support her, how can you do so financially? If someone wants to be able, because this is something that you do. A lot of people donate because Caryma is one of the best journalists when it comes to just showing people what's going on in tight situations where normal journalists can't get because everyone hates them. People love Caryma. Everyone hates the other guys. They do. It's just certain people
That
don't.
tide has been turning lately.
Yeah.
I'd
well,
like to make sure that someone on this fucking panel is being reasonable.
Okay.
I'm going to be
Like,
wearing
we're
a
just
helmet.
blowing
most of the
smoke
time.
up her ass and going, "You go, girl." That
Yeah,
doesn't
this
fly
sounds
with
a
me.
lot like Bonzi, like when we used to tell Bonzi to do stupid shit.
Well, let me play it. Yeah, a little bit, but let me play this for you because this is something Caryma put
Great
together.
journalist,
It's a
Caryma.
collection of
You
the
go
last
get 'em.
2 years of.
This is just 9 months, and this is specific to the Holdfast gang. So
Okay.
I have so much footage, guys. I have so much fucking footage.
Of these guys? Is there worse
Generally,
footage?
this was put together anyway. Watch
Let's
it.
watch it
Yeah.
and then we'll talk
Let's
about
check
it.
it out,
Here it is. Note the movie theater trailer music and the e-bike first scene. Look at this.
It is a very strong anti-Trudeau sentiment. I think that sort of the goalpost of vaccine mandates is one that is clung to as being the purpose for the protest, but scratching even a little bit beneath that surface, and it becomes quite apparent that mandates are not the primary reason. I think that we are seeing this type of action on the ground.
But he's a public figure. Why can't we report him?
A lot of people who are partaking in this are unaware or willfully blind to those connections.
Freedom, freedom, freedom!
That famous lawyer from Toronto with her puppet on her scooter.
There's a special guest coming in on Saturday, the real Pat King. And I need to look like that.
Yeah, Scooter Boy, you're loving this, aren't you? Yeah, maybe one day you'll grow a set of balls.
He's just a pussy chaser.
So I guess it is what it is.
Look at any pussy and follow the pussy.
Well, thank you everyone for coming in to Freedom because
There is no way anyone is going to catch me with a Freedom Burger or French fries or with a Hong Kong or Section 22 or any other nonsense that they're serving up at Peter Burgers down in Peterborough.
This is awesome.
Just like your cameraman touched my breast for no reason. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true.
The movement overall is a Trojan horse for a form of right-wing populism, and I've seen that very clearly on the streets here in Ottawa.
And of course, in true fashion for myself, I didn't write a damn thing down. you know, I don't know that more police presence is necessarily going to help if police themselves aren't convinced that this is something they need to do anything about.
Yes, what's up? The violent bubble bus. Violent, terroristic. For parking.
The way that the group presents also is perceived as less of a risk by police.
Murder boy! Are you coming over to the dark side anytime soon? He wasn't trying to harm you.
How long is this going to be happening? And the answer is nobody knows.
So I'll throw the offer out right now, Caryma. I'll give you $100 if you want to dance in a burger suit in front of the restaurant on Saturday. I'll employ you.
It's a good idea.
If you want, yeah, I'll give you $100.
I've got to fuel up because this is war.
There you go. E-transfer to Caryma.sod@gmail.com. That
was really good, Caryma.
Well done.
That was really good.
I had help putting that together. But point being that this was a last minute idea, and many more to come, I think.
That was
if there's
so good.
interest in these.
You really have a special relationship with the, I know these aren't your words, they're mine. I'm going to kind of lean into it softly. Douchebags at Peter Burgers, Roy and Nicole Asseltine.
Yeah.
Before we, and I just, real quick question, who gives who hepatitis in this group?
Listen.
That was hypothetical.
I'm
right?
about to see them in their faces. You think I'm going to answer that question?
You know what I love about these two is how, well, first of all, and I know that, again, you're nicer than me, how clinically stupid both of them are. Roy and Nicole from Peter Burgers. Not just clinically stupid, mean, Dunning-Kruger-esque. These guys think they got the fucking world by the balls. They don't even fucking read. I would love to challenge both of them to finish Green Eggs and Ham inside 10 minutes. Could guarantee you it would never happen. Number one, these two have abused you. They have threatened you. They've chased you. And it's worse than that. It's not just you. They've gone from just being mildly pissed off trailer people who happened into enough money to open a shitty burger joint into being legitimately considered to be extremists. And I know that you used the T word today, terrorists. What is, and these guys are in charge of the Hold Fast movement. Is that correct? Is that what I'm to understand?
I mean, in charge of is strong words for they sell merchandise, and they do so quite effectively, actually. So, I mean, they do have matching homemade gang tats with a sort of a select group of insiders.
Yeah, they got those on the floor of the restaurant.
I don't know that they do anything.
But
they were the ones outside Jugmeat saying, like, you know, they didn't get charged because that didn't rise to any level of concern for Peterborough police. But they have sort of escalated their activities, and they have a particular habit of before and after the fact sort of calling for a false peace, right? Knowing that what they're actually instigating is anything but peaceful. So they, you know, are smarter than they look, which isn't saying a whole lot.
I disagree.
But you know, they sell a lot of fucking hats and t-shirts.
But Hold Fast isn't
but so
necessarily
do I.
a movement as much as it's sort of a
club.
Well, no, it's not a movement.
It's an idea that people rally behind, right? So
Yeah.
do they have like kind of a mandate or
ties,
constitution or sort of membership process? Like,
What do they
I don't
believe?
know, probably
What do these
not.
guys believe? Like, do they just believe the same shit every other dumb donkey that thinks that we're under attack by conspiracy theorists and Klaus Schwab and the WEF and all the other bullshit? Like, is that what they believe?
Aspects of their beliefs, or at least what they've expressed. You know, there's a deeply anti-vax, deeply anti-government sentiment. It's my understanding that even before the pandemic hit, you know, they were holders of what we might term controversial views, sort of the Trumper variety. So, you know, that's the gist of what they're all about.
I've said this from day one of COVID, because I had a couple of friends that got into it, this side of it, right? the Peterborough's burgers side of it. And I remember having conversations with them about very controversial conspiracy theory, but it wasn't viewed as viewed as harmless back in the day for me in particular, just because I thought it was entertaining that somebody would actually believe some of this stuff. And this was just another thing to add to the pile, right? COVID just became another sort of piece of the puzzle. And they've done this thing too, where they've connected all the dots in their mind about the conspiracy theories they believed previous to COVID, and then all of a sudden COVID just became part of the soup. And now again, they've been forced into these little segments of society, and I the reason why I question things like the ability for the January 6th hearings down in the States to have any impact on belief structures of the overall population is because I know these people. They just become more and more and more entrenched. It doesn't matter what is presented to them. They've got a way. They've already seemed to have an idea in their mind that anything that is presented as factual that might step in front of their views, they can just remove it instantly, like and just replace it with some, I don't know,
cue card excuse.
Yeah,
just a new one.
like
Yeah, bing bang.
they're ready
yeah.
to go constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Do you guys think that, like, if you're one of these guys, and I know probably Roy and Nicole and the rest of the mouth breathers that think that they're going to take over Canada on Canada Day, which, by the way, it'll be fun, which I want to get to in a second. Do you think the J6 stuff, Linz, maybe it's a good, quick question for you, but do you think that, like, if you're one of them and you're realizing, oh my God, Donald Trump literally is a psychotic fucking dictator who tried to choke out his own personal security so he could take part in a coup and witness tampering, and now the truth is coming out, and you know that it's not a deep state operation to keep that fucking lunatic out of the office. But, like, are you not looking at that going, maybe we should rethink what we're doing this weekend? Maybe we should come back, like, maybe we've tacked on to pure bullshit? Or do you think, like Lachlan says, and I would agree with him, I would be more likely where they just go, you know what, let's take that excuse out because it looks like he lied and we can't use that anymore. These are a list of our new excuses to be assholes.
Yeah, that's what I agree with what you said earlier when you I think you hit the nail on the head with Dunning-Kruger. They're digging themselves deeper and deeper. The more you tell them they're wrong, the more they tell you they're right, and the more they believe it. And it's textbook propaganda manipulation. Like they've been manipulated by an idea, by an ideology, just like a religion does, or just like any sort of cult does. And if you actually look and you break down these hold fast movements and the Chris Sky movements and whatever the Jeremy McKenzie movement guy, if you break them down and you look at the tactics that they use when they talk, it's exactly the same. Like you can read a textbook definition for a cult and how a cult is effective, and that's how they've done this. And these people have been. It will literally take professional deprogramming, and I don't know how you do that on a national scale. You know, this isn't something that people can just. I escaped this cult. Like QAnon, you're seeing a bit of it here and there. People break out and they go and they're like, "Oh shit!" You know, I was absolutely entrenched. I don't know.
Sorry,
what I was thinking.
gone. Yeah,
yeah, one of those.
Political leaders speak more,
but to counter the thing again, I turned it around. We're about to see evidence about the Emergencies Act. Lachlan, because some people believe that's was Trudeau trying to take over, become a dictator. Should we not know what happened in the Emergencies Act? Should we not have a hearing and a deposition about that in a public inquiry?
That's a little bit different because I don't.
Yes, we should.
The reason why I question the January 6th committee, like I agree with that. The reason why I'm questioning the January 6th stuff, Ryan, is because I think that from my very limited knowledge of the legal system as a whole, not just in Canada, but also in the States, it just looks, because it's not all legally binding, to me, it just looks like something they're going to use as evidence to blockade any real attempt at trying to put something into the courts as evidence. So if that's the case, what was the point of this? Because I've lost hope that shit like that actually has an impact on
well, I think public sentiment, right? Like, hang on, and I think that, and Caryma, like that's what these hearings are for. That's what the EA hearing is going to be for, right? When we see actually what went into this and who was behind it. Like, if we get the same thing in terms of the J6 stuff that we watched today and we've watched for the past couple of weeks, when it comes to what happened with the very first convoy. I want that. I think all Canadians want that. I think the city of Ottawa wants that. And I think you're going to see, like, dude, it's like fucking clockwork. The disinformation that gets put out when this group knows that they're in trouble, and they know they're in trouble. The J6 unmasking that's happened, the EA Act that's coming out. Today is a very bad day for Justin Trudeau for a number of reasons, because everybody started doing this, including Jamie Salé, who's on Team Insane, which really makes me sad. Because she is like a Canadian legend. She is legitimately fucked. Hypocrisy at its finest, two-faced Trudy. Don't trust this traitor. Unvaxxed, you're a racist messiah. Like all the shit. Which, did he say some of it? Kind of, but it's all taken out of context. Again, this is more stuff. Let's arrest Justin Trudeau. This is another one. Brett Wilson, shocker. He's like, I will fight for all Canadians unless you're a senior, a veteran. I mean, it's just all misinformation, disinformation, all the bullshit, and it's like, and it's nonstop, right? Like kind of Justinga Trudenesh, like the racist tropes that people use, and I know you laugh, and I know he looks ridiculous in it, but it is like clockwork. When anything happens to the alt-right, when the people like J6 stuff or the convoy thing happens, and we're ramping up to it, they want to push as much attention as they can onto an idea, and that idea that Justin Trudeau is terrible for this country. And whether or not he is or whether he isn't even the point. It is literally like fucking clockwork. I've been watching it for the past 2 days. The ramping up of crazy memes and stupid disinformation from this side, and it's got to do with the movement. This is a global thing. I said it in a post the other day. This has nothing to do really with Canada. This has really nothing to do with the United States. They're really trying to kettle the symptoms at this point in time. They're trying to say, here, this is the deal. Yeah. This is what happened. And if you can show everybody in this country, it's going to do two things. A few people on the fringe that are on the outside now going, I don't know if I was right. Like, fuck, I can't believe I followed a guy that just tried to choke out his personal security guard and tried to take over the fucking Americas, number one. And then when you look at the whole thing here in Canada, a lot of these people are going to go, what are we giving our money to again? Like, is this real? The people on the fringe. But you know who it, but you know who it's going to militarize, and I think in a good way, in a thoughtful way, not in a physical way, but in like a mental way. People like us, people that are like, are you kidding me? And then people in the middle that haven't said anything. That's why I really want to see the same thing with the Emergencies Act, Caryma. I want to see a fucking hearing. I want all the information. I want to get in those back rooms. I want to see the memos. I want to see the interaction between security. I want to see what they know, because we deserve it, right? As Canadians, do we not deserve to be able to form an opinion based on the best information possible? Do we not? Caryma? Which is what I think we do.
As long as that information is delivered by someone I trust.
Wow.
Fat chance.
Yeah.
We'll give it to Jimmy to decipher for you, Locke.
Okay. So
no,
here's the thing.
Caryma was going to say something, and then I interrupted her.
You go.
No. Just that, it's a statutory requirement, the Emergencies Act, when it is invoked, that there is this process of unpacking the circumstances that led to it. So even at the time of authoring the legislation, there was a mind to the fact that it should be used rarely, and that the public is entitled to an explanation because of how sweeping it is, right? So that's just, it speaks to, I guess, the purpose that you're describing. People have a right to know and to understand, and that just needs to be put in context, because I think as well there's a lot of misconceptions or just uncertainty, lack of knowledge about how things typically unfold, how they're supposed to unfold, where the separation of powers comes into play. So that all just needs to be absorbed, and we need to resist sort of the inclination for hot takes, which is the opposite of everything that drives social media engagement and just the way that we interact with one another.
Well, and you know what? That's interesting. I mean, I think I noticed something years ago that some of my crazier wound up tight conspiracy theory first friends were trying to engage me because they knew I had a bit of an appetite for it, because I like a little bit of chaos in my life, and I'm prone to sort of go down the wormholes, and I used to on a fairly regular basis with these wingnuts because I enjoyed it. Now it's just become tedious, but it's funny. I remember specifically having conversations, and I can almost picture their face, and it was like they were testing you to see how far they could go down that rabbit hole with you, and see how far they could take you. And you could see it in their eyes. It was almost like a recruitment thing. And now I've noticed that recruitment thing has moved right over to social media and memes and Facebook posts and little subtle little mentions. Because they want the community. They want to bring people along. So they're testing this kind of stuff. Is all a test. They throw it out there. It's like a fish. It's like a hook in the water. And they're seeing whether or not they can get one or two of their buddies on their face group to join them in this little sort of discussion about how bad Trudeau is and that, the world is going to hell. Right. And now it's a little bit more nefarious, I think. I don't think this has anything other to do. Dean, you were saying that this has everything to do with them feeling like they're losing. No, they feel like they're winning. This is recruitment pieces. They look at these hearings as a complete farce. They look at them as a complete joke. They don't believe any of it.
Yeah, they think it's like political persecution, right? That's how they sell it. Yeah. That's how everybody sells
feeling like
it.
they're backed into a corner and that they're losing. They feel like they're winning. So they're pushing back with these recruitment pieces to grow the number.
It stops working when someone finally tells the truth and shows the fucking receipts of that truth. Like I watched that today with Trumpy. I watched it today. It was
thank you for your positivity.
It really does.
Dean.
I'm watching, dude. It's going to be a problem.
Giving me hope.
Like the movement is still going to be a problem. But I think generally speaking, you have legal recourse to do something, and that legal recourse is traditionally based. And listen, dumb people are never going to believe something they don't want to believe, right? That's why they've activated the dumbest people, like the evangelical extremists. Dumb. They believe in like a sky daddy and Noah's Ark and like magic angels coming down shooting firebolts out of their assholes, and Jesus Christ rose from the dead, and he with giant holes in his hands, he waved a 12-ton rock out of the way and came out, and he's like, "What's up, everybody? I'm back. Nice to see you." Like they really legitimately believe that. Yeah. Oh yeah, the burning bush and the tech, so. And I don't want to get into that, but I kind of do because it's really fun to kind of strip it all down to its. But you really talking about the dumbest people in the world here. You're talking about the dumbest functional people in the world, and they've been able to hide behind their ideologies and their belief system. So they're not giving this up for shit because they think when they die they're going to heaven. And I go back to that all the time. So it's literally a work of art for these people. It's like hard work to stay the course and really continue to believe this stuff. But there are going to be a bunch of people on the periphery that slowly fall away, like you're seeing down in the United States. Yeah, I do. I really do.
Wow,
yeah.
Good.
But I think we're going to have growing pains. Anyway, listen, Caryma, we'll let you go. We're going to be live with you all weekend. Please donate. How can people do that to keep you in Ottawa reporting on what's going on? Can you give us those details real quick?
Be safe.
Well, I've abandoned GoFundMe due to their deep betrayal, and I accept e-transfers to my email address. That's Caryma, caryma.sad@gmail.com. Otherwise, just engage with the posts and stay tuned.
Yeah, I can't wait.
A puzzle.
I'm going to send her like 5 tips on how to release anxiety in your hotel room. Have a bath. Smoke a joint out the window.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Oh, don't worry. You will. But Caryma, thanks for doing this. At Caryma Rules, give her a follow on Twitter. Sadvocacy.com is the name of her website as well. If you're looking for some legal help, especially legal opinions or anything with landlord-tenant stuff, she is wonderful and even nicer in person to deal with.
Can you help me with my photo radar?
No, she can't. Stop asking. That's obstruction.
I see it in the comments, and that same email address accepts PayPal. So thank you.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Thanks for doing this. Really
Good luck,
appreciate
Caryma.
Thanks
Talk to you in a couple
Lachlan.
days. Stay in touch.
Good to see you. Good to
There
see
you go. Caryma Assad, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the show is brought to you by our friends over at Kyiv Law, defense attorneys. If you're looking to get your life back into shape, please go to kivlaw.ca, contact one of their attorneys. They will help. Did you get busted doing something you shouldn't have? Are you trying to clean up your record? Did you get caught in any kind of pinch, some kind of pinch, legal pinch, if you will? Rob and his team are incredible. Call Kyiv Law today. Kivlaw.ca is where you can get a hold of Rob and his group. Well. What do we have here? Ladies and gentlemen, off to Irpin, Ukraine. Alex Dayrabekov, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, buddy? Alex, how you doing, brother?
Well, it's hard to say good because it's not good.
It's not good right now.
Good.
Things are not
especially for the
good.
past 3 days. As you probably heard some of the news.
Yeah, what's happening? Take us through it if you can, Alex.
Well, on Sunday they did airstrikes in Kyiv. I actually saw it out of my window right here.
Jesus.
The strikes were like 10 miles away from me. I saw we woke up in the morning. One of them hit a residential apartment building. A man died, and a little girl is taken out from the debris. And the woman, the wife or the mother, is actually a Russian citizen, born and lived in Moscow. And she moved to Ukraine a long time ago, I believe. But she's a Russian-speaking Russian citizen being hit by a Russian air strike in Kyiv, you know. And the same day on Sunday, they hit the bridge over Dnipro in Cherkasy, where we stayed with my family for 3 months, and we left Cherkasy 2 weeks ago, and we took that very bridge. So they hit the bridge, they destroyed the railroad, because it's one of the ways for the supplies of weaponry from the west to the east.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday they hit the shopping mall in Kremenchuk, that's central Ukraine, about 50 miles away from Cherkasy.
Mm-hmm.
And a shopping mall, and they planned for car repair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
sorry, go ahead, Locke.
The shopping center, the last count we heard in North America, Alex, just the coverage over here was pretty extensive on that. Was 15 dead, but they were saying the numbers were probably going to go much higher.
It's more than 20 already.
More than 20.
And, and dozens of people missing.
What time was it hit, Alex? Like rush hour kind of a time?
It was 3:59 p.m.
Yeah.
On Monday, not really a rush hour, but still it's a shopping mall.
Yeah.
With the anchor as a supermarket, grocery supermarket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How close to the main fighting is that city? Like, is that one pretty far removed? Like, there doesn't seem to be a real connection between where the battle is and that town, right? Or is that just a misconception on our part?
It is far. It is far, but supposedly, and I'm not going to reveal any secrets now, there is a base of artillery, probably HIMARS, are close to that place. So that's probably a revenge to the West for supplying us with those HIMARS. Just for those who don't know, HIMARS were supplied to us a couple weeks ago. They just arrived, and they started hitting targets in the occupied areas. Within the several, I think within 4 days, we hit 41 locations by those HIMARS. So that's a very powerful weapon.
What's a HIMAR? Do we have a picture of it, Dean?
I'll find one. If you could explain it, it's like an MLR
on the back.
Yeah, MLRS, right? Like it's one of those multi-launch rocket systems. Is that correct,
Okay.
Alex?
Yes, that can hit, that can shoot 6 missiles during, I think, 1 minute. So there's only 4 of them. That was the first wave, and I believe there's more coming.
Yeah, and they have some sort of a guidance system, an advanced guidance system on them as well, so they're pretty
Okay.
accurate. And yeah, they're
Distance
a very,
maybe
very useful
gives
tool.
them a little more distance or whatever.
Yeah.
The Ukraine government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
the army.
they are like mid-range, would say. It's like 50, 60 miles they can shoot. So they are not reachable by the Russian artillery. And 4 HIMARS are quite good.
There we go.
And they cover basically all the front line in the Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast, the hottest, where the hottest battles now are going on. So the biggest problem about those HIMARS was how to actually organize the logistics of missiles from the US to Ukraine. That is a huge project, and I believe the guys who did it, that's going to be like one of the best practices in the world, how to arrange the logistics in a very confidential manner, so that locations are not, spotted. And I believe what Russia is doing now is they're just trying to destroy logistics. Today, they also destroyed another railway in Dnipro, that is south of us. So in Cherkasy, they destroyed. In Dnipro, they destroyed. So there's a couple more ways from the west to the east.
Trying to cripple your supply chain for the military. It's
to get out east. Yeah.
Because going after the railroads.
That's the space they're going. It was funny. Well, it was sad. It was funny. I'm sorry about my language, Alex. You and I texted back and forth a few times this week, and it was like the first time we knew you were in Cherkasy for like 3 months. We knew you left Irpin kind of in the middle of the night with a couple cats, your kid, your wife, some necessities. We talked to you in Cherkasy for a long time, which was beautiful, seemed peaceful, seemed quiet. And then I saw this and I sent it to you, but explain where this is. This is that bridge you're talking about in Cherkasy, like one way in, one way out almost.
Yeah, this is the only bridge. The next one on the left is like 100 miles away. The next one on the right is also like 70, 80 miles away. So this is the only bridge in this location. And this is if we look forward, that's the way to Kyiv. That's the way we actually took with my wife and kid and cats 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow!
Well, the good thing is that the road itself is not damaged.
They just missed.
It is good, but the railroad is.
Yeah, railroad's fucked. Yeah, it's getting closer, right? Like it seems, to us over here, it seems indiscriminate until we talk to you about it. But it seemed like there were certain areas that were kind of off limits. Kyiv being one of them. So all the diplomats and embassies all came back to Kyiv, and then all of a sudden, boom! You get hit the other day. It seemed like there were certain areas, the ones that you were in, going back to Irpin, you felt safe. Did you feel safe for a while before this happened? And what does it do knowing that, hey, fuck, I mean, if they're going after malls in Dnipro and they're going after railways and they're going after, areas that seem to be sort of peaceful or seem to be sort of off limits or whatever the situation is, does it give you pause for thought? Does it worry you any more than you're already worried?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm just pissed off. I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
My wife is in a despair. She's so disappointed. She cried. She cried on Sunday. She cried yesterday. She cried today. I tried to not calm her down, but just talk with her. What is that you fear? What is that you fear? Because we knew that there's a war here. We knew nothing changed. We were in a shopping mall on Saturday. On Sunday, a shopping mall was hit. So what? It doesn't mean that every shopping mall in the country will be hit now. It's just, of course, it's not.
How's that reasoning going for you?
For me as a man, it's it's like a logic. Yeah, it's like, well, there was not safe, and it's not.
It never was safe.
Yeah, 3 months ago here, where I'm now, that was completely dangerous. It was dangerous. The walls were shaking in this building where I'm now. 3 months ago, now we feel, well, this specific place, this specific city now, after what it had experienced 3 months ago, now it's probably the safest in the entire country, because really it's a really peaceful city. There's no military facilities around, so there is no way to miss and hit our apartment buildings anymore.
What about
there's no Russians around? There are no mortars. There are no tanks. And by the way, I was surprised. I just tried to understand. Do you guys know how much a launch of one missile? How much a launch of a missile costs?
No.
Any idea?
How much?
No, none. How much?
I was surprised. The cheapest, the shittiest ones, the old, outdated ones. The launch of those costs from something like $300,000-$500,000. The most advanced and the most expensive ones, the most modern ones, up to $6-7 million. So shooting a missile to hit anything in Irpin doesn't make any sense at all. Well, Kremenchuk, I can see a logic. There's probably a base of some, military equipment like HIMARS or whatever, and they just wanted their revenge. Or they missed, because this is not a precise missile. They have used a lot of those already, and they can miss like 200, 300 miles right or left. It's not really precise. But here, what's the logic?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know the space. Go ahead, Ryan.
You don't have any sort of infrastructure in Irpin, right? Like there's no sort of like coal mines. There's no oil and gas companies. So it's a nice little protected pocket, because like you say, he's running out of money. They're running out of so much money. They just defaulted on debt. Yeah. It's and that's a big problem for him right now when it comes to supplying himself for this coup, this bullshit. I think you made the right decision to come back. While it may still be unstable, I think it's still probably in your safest interest at this point.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember, though, I've learned this: women are emotional.
Okay,
so you have to find the emotional angle, Alex.
No, he does, dude. They're at war. I mean, this poor family has been like bombed for the last I don't know how long.
Reasoning. That's not going to work.
This is not about that. When you talk to your wife, is she like she all right today? Is she, because like okay? you and I were talking about this back and forth the other day, and I didn't know what to say to you when you're like, Anya cried all day today, and I'm like, how do you? It's not about me, but how do you? Yeah, but is like, what is the? I mean, I don't even know what to ask you. Is she okay today? Is she getting better, or is she just kind of under the constant, umbrella of like, holy fuck, like I don't know where any of it's coming from. Can we like go outside? Is that where she's at?
Well, she's an emotional.
Back to what Lachlan said. Okay.
Human, yeah. So Locke is right. Yeah, Anya, my wife. So is just like, she can cry and then she's like, she feels better. So
Oh, sure.
That's what's getting her through it.
Let them do it. Yeah.
Because
I mean, your whole strategy about trying to explain to her how much missile launches cost, I don't know if that's going to fly there, Alex. I love you, brother, but I'm here for you too, right?
Babe. $6 million a torpedo. They're not coming here.
I did the math, and guess what?
Well,
it's really expensive to bomb our apartment building.
Yeah,
I can't see him deciding to do that, honey.
There's no iron ore underneath this building. They're not coming here.
That's right.
Well, there was a discussion in our residential apartment complex Telegram chat about somebody stuck out a Ukrainian flag on top of the building. And one of the ladies was like, "Why did you do that? You want to identify yourself so that the Russians will notice you and hit you." And I tried to use the logic. I tried to use the logical argument that look, what's the point of shooting at the flag with a missile that costs millions of dollars?
Did it work?
Oh, okay. Well, actually, lots of people supported me in that.
Because it's true. And I'm sorry, the logic would comfort me as well.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
Yeah. They got no money, and these things cost $6 million a piece. They need to save, and they can't save by bombing us, and we got nothing. Like, have you looked around? There's nothing. You're going to come after us. They're going to go after high-value targets, right? Which still sucks. It still totally sucks. And there's a lot of war to be
People
had.
are still dying. That's
big time. Zelensky said to the G7 folks, obviously Trudeau and the rest of the cats are in Germany, part of the G7 meeting. They were talking about they needed to have this done before winter. Is that still? What are you hearing?
Yeah, same. We hear about the end of the year, but my wife is into, what do you call it, the prophets.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the war, she would just go like, "Oh, this prophet said that it would take only 3 or 4 weeks until Butler dies," and then 3 weeks passes, and she's like, this prophet said bullshit. I don't believe him anymore."
You gotta figure it, like winter must feel like 3,000 years away right now. Like if that's what they're estimating. Like it's just, I just couldn't imagine. How's the relationship going with the EU, with the membership to the EU?
Oh, that was such a holiday for us. That was Thursday, I guess. Yeah, Thursday. That's a historic day. You know, June 23rd will always be a historic day for Ukraine. It took us 30 years to actually hear from EU a clear message. Guys, we want to see you in EU. Here is a list of conditions that you need to fulfill. And then we will start negotiations of membership. We understand it will take a lot of time, 5, 10, probably at least 10 years. But still, we now are going that direction. Before 24th of February, before the war started, we couldn't even hear Europe say, maybe. We couldn't even hear that. Now we have a clear, path. That's cool. That's a holiday for us.
And you're building a future for your son. Like something like that is something that will give you comfort later on down the road, knowing that he's going to grow up in a better world and with more protections of the world and your surrounding neighbors, so that this doesn't hopefully ever happen again to him and his family as he grows up, right? So I'm happy for you guys. I'm really, really happy from that news on Thursday.
Yeah.
I hate to be this guy, but my issue with this is, and again, I mean, obviously,
thank God you're weighing in, because Alex, before we got on, he was like, "Hey, I really want Lachlan's opinion on our membership to the European Union." So could you make sure
I wrote
it
down, and I'm planning on just shitting all over it. Here's the thing here's the issue I have, is that we're all members of the human race. And it bothers the fuck out of me that one country, if they got bombed, the whole world would step in. Yet we're sitting here watching another country with members of the human fucking race get bombed, and we're doing not as much as we would for another. The unbalanced nature of it bothers me, and it drives me crazy. And why is it going to take 10 years? Do it in a week. Fuck off. Get it done, and then we all step in and we stop this bullshit. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's elitist and snotty, isn't it? When you put it that way, where it's like, okay, Ukraine, you've proven you can defend yourself now. We'll give you 10 years and we'll bring you in, but you got to hit a few more marks. But at the same time, knowing that you have those alliances has to be important, right? Knowing that you're beginning to stretch those relationships, you have those alliances with other countries. It's got to feel like you're held a little bit, right, Alex? Like it's got to feel like, oh, thank God, a little bit of support, because like legitimately, I know where Ukraine is on the map. It's like literally holding Russia away from the rest of the Eastern country, or the rest of the Eastern Bloc. So like, it's got to feel good, because you've been kind of on an island, even though you're not on an island, for like 100 years, right? And specifically over the last 8 since they walked in and took Crimea in the eastern part of the country.
Yeah, we're considered kind of a gray zone.
Yeah,
between the modern world and Russia, and now we are clearly considered as a part of this modern world. And to react to what you, Locke, said, I'm a Ukrainian, and what you are saying is like something that 95% of Ukrainians would support, except us now. but I understand that we need to do a lot of things in order to actually become a member of the EU. This is our homework. We need to do a lot of things. We need to adjust and tune our rules, regulations, policies to EU regulations.
Yeah,
we are
I
far
understand
away from
that.
those.
My wife keeps bringing up this thing called the high road, and I fucking hate that conversation.
It's because it's with your wife.
Look,
I don't know where this high road is. Is it a lot of work to get up there? Like why is it so difficult for me?
From an emotional aspect, I think you're right, Locke. I agree as well. It's like, get this fucking done. Let's go.
Yeah.
But if you look at what the EU does, it's like once you're accepted into the EU, that's like an insurance policy for you, right? So like they can't literally just take any country, because it could be a kangaroo of a country that does fuck all and defaults on itself every 10 years, and the EU will then have to bail them out as being an accepted member of the EU. And it's harder to kick them out than it is to keep them in or get them in, right? So it's one of those. I get where you're coming from, but the reasoning is, like Alex said, it does make sense.
Yeah, sound. Yeah, there's certain marks you have to hit, and I know it's shitty at time at war, but it's one of those things. One of the things too that I thought was really fascinating this week is not just the EU stuff and the courage that you guys continue to display. How many Russian generals have you killed when they scrape the bottom of the fucking barrel? Lynn's put up a great article. Oh, dude. Have you seen the latest general that Putin's tapped to?
How do you say camel toe in Russia?
When your zipper separates your navel, you're fat. Just so you know.
And that's actually called moose knuckle.
By the way, it's the zipper in your pants that separates your belly fat. That's when you know you're enormous.
Woolly mammoth toe.
He is fucking huge. As Ryan says in this post, it's a great post at DeanBlundell.com. You can follow Ryan at it's Dean Blundell as well. True WWE fashion, or like Madonna, the new head Nazi in charge, is only identified as General Pavel 67. He will lead Russian special forces in the region after the last head clown was seriously injured in an artillery strike. And the last head clown, he was there for 4 hours before he got half of his body ripped apart. So what do you make of and here's the great part. How many calories does this guy eat a day? What was that?
5 meals a day and 1 liter of vodka on the average.
He looks great.
5 meals.
He looks great.
You know why they're sending him to the front lines?
Yeah, you ever notice everybody else that wears those?
Beat an entire platoon.
Everyone else that wears those hats, they look fucking ridiculously huge. On him, it's like it's like a beret from France. It's very nice.
Hey, Alex, you want to
Pavel tacos?
You know what? Fire Pavel at something. That'll do all the damage, right? I say load him onto a catapult and let it fly. He might take out a village.
They better rethink them blowing up all your trains.
I haven't fat-shamed someone for a long time. This is a lot of fucking fun, boys. This guy is enormous. His gun is the biggest I've ever seen.
I looked like that at one point, and this is why I took license when I wrote this, because you know what? I was that guy at one point.
Were you this fat?
That's exactly what Lynn said. He said, I was as big as this guy. I'm the only one in the Dean Blundell podcast network that is qualified to write a piece about this fat prick.
Fat shit.
And then he went at it.
Bottom. See what it says on the bottom?
Yeah.
Gravy
Seals. General Pavel. Yeah.
Nice work. Linz, I didn't notice that. Thank you for pointing it out.
So anyway, it looks like you're going to win the war, Alex. That's what we get out of that picture.
Well, we now know that Putler is actually leading the entire operation by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, Putler is of short supply. So he's probably compensating for something,
His tiny dick.
That guy can't find his, so
yeah. This dude hasn't seen his cock since the First World War.
Yeah,
I can tell you that right now.
You're not reaching to wipe your ass either. I mean,
No.
that's an aid too, right? Like he's got somebody, a cabana boy, in there with him.
Yeah, he's got someone that chips it out. Go ahead, Alex. Yes.
Yeah,
Or a shower.
but do you guys know that he's an ex-Afghanistan warrior?
Yeah, he was a Afghanistan.
So that probably means that they are preparing to a defeat, like the Soviet Union was defeated in Afghanistan.
Yep.
Yeah. Man,
Memories.
his camel must have hated him.
His Afghan camel. Yeah. Hey, he looks at General Pavel a couple years ago. He's like, "There's my mount. Fucking run, because this guy's jumping on your back. Get out." I can't. Yeah, dude, it's hysterical. Just the comedy. Like, then there's so much. Like, maybe Putin's keeping his shit so he can shoot it at you guys too. I mean, it is the stories that we've gotten about this guy, how ill prepared he is, how much he hates these shirts, which we're selling at deanblundell.com to support our friend Alex so that we can help buy some food for some people that he helps support, including a family of 4, which can live on $150 in food in 1 month. And I shit you not. So if you go to deanblundell.com, go to the shop, buy a shirt, or make a donation, because you can do that too if you don't want any of these great shirts. They're excellent shirts, by the way. We can make a donation to Alex in Ukraine. Hit the shop on the tab. We really do appreciate it. But like he's in trouble, dude.
General
like
Gunt.
General Gunt. Did someone call him General Gunt?
Yeah.
I think he ate Kazakhstan. That just came in too.
Yeah.
Why was that so much fun? Holy shit. You know what I'm doing every night? And listen, you guys don't need to follow suit, but just before I go to bed, I sleep naked, and north is that way. So I usually bend over and spread my ass cheeks apart, and I go, "There you go, Putler. Have a good look."
Oh, you show him the
whole
whole undercarriage.
Just right there, Putler.
Yeah.
Have a good look at my asshole.
Yeah.
And I don't do a lot
dark.
of maintenance down there, Alex, at all. Like none. She's nasty.
Yeah, that back 40 is not maintained.
Yeah. What time is it there? What time is it in Ukraine right now?
I think it's almost midnight, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you. I just wanted to make you laugh before we let you go, because we needed an update and we want to make some money for Alex so he can buy some ladies and children some cookies and tea. So go to deanblundell.com, hit the shop, and follow my friend Alex at Dayrabekov. You can see it in his name. Just add an @ go to Twitter. And you can follow him on Facebook as well. You on Facebook, or you want some Facebook followers? Can we get you some of those? What else can we get you? Instagram? Are you on Telegram, Snap? What's going on? Snapchat? You need some Snapchat. TikTok? Are you making videos? What do you need?
Just Facebook and Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex is good on Twitter.
Very good on Twitter.
He's incredible on Twitter. Hey, listen, brother, great to see you. Really great. Really, really, really great to see you and have a laugh again.
Thank you. It's just such a relief after those hard days, really hard days.
We're thinking about you a lot, Alex.
Yeah.
This week in particular, we were talking behind the scenes, and all of us, we can't wait for our Tuesdays with you. But this week was a little longer to get to this point. So, and we always try to put a smile on your face, because you got a great smile.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go tell your wife about how expensive missiles are again.
You don't make up a bedtime song about it. $6 million missiles won't be coming here tonight. They're too expensive, honey. Dum.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lullaby.
Yeah, it is.
Show him a picture of that fat bastard too that just got sent to the front lines. Maybe she'll have a chuckle out of that.
Yeah, tell Anya, say, "Hey, listen, babe, I think we got this thing in the bag. This is their ringer.
Look at General Gunt.
Thank you, my friend. It was wonderful to see you. I'll let you get to bed. And please stay in touch, and we'll chat in the next couple of days. And we greatly look forward to seeing you next week, bud.
Kiss your beautiful baby for us.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friends. Thank
All
you.
right, you take
We
care.
love you, pal.
Good to see
We'll
you.
talk to you soon. There
Good
you go,
to
pal.
see you guys.
There's Alex Dayrabekov. Follow him at Dayrabekov on Twitter is where you can find him. Can you imagine that? Like fucking, the dude just left Cherkasy, Ukraine, and this is Cherkasy, Ukraine yesterday. He left about a week ago. Boom. Over that bridge.
There's
Like,
one
look
guy
at the
that comes
people
of
running
that
out of
building
there. Watch
Yeah.
that. This is fascinating to me. There's a guy that comes out.
and just
There's
falls.
a few guys. And
Guy
then there's
limping there.
Yeah.
He got hurt.
It's this guy here right now.
Yeah, he got hurt bad.
Bad, yeah.
Just crazy video, eh? Like, oh my god,
it's nuts.
Yeah. I'm glad we always find some. Thanks, Dean, for the picture there of the big general there, because we always got to find something to sink
This
our
fat
teeth in
fuck.
General tons of fun.
to bring Alex's teeth out. Yeah.
I knew
I'm
he'd love
glad.
that.
I wouldn't feel right if we didn't send him away with a smile on his face.
Linz wrote this week, and I'm like, it was like a solid piece, and I didn't know what kind of traction it could get. I can tell you that people are dying for some, like, just to fat shame the right person. At least our generation is, right? Because fat shaming was fucking huge when we were kids. It was like one of the
I
biggest
still
things.
do it. I'm in my 50s.
Yeah. And Ryan has license because he was legitimately 500 pounds for like a good period of his life before he got his shit together. Now he looks like a greyhound, all cock and ribs. Same thing with me. I spent a large portion of my life very overweight. And now that I've got kind of some things together, I'm like, man, I really want to jump off because I feel like I've got license. I feel like I've got a fat shaming game card that I get to play every once in a while, but only where it really matters. And I'm wondering, like, I'm doing the fat jokes about this guy, and it feels liberating in the middle of the show. I'm like, oh, it's like this fat shaming is
You
the
didn't want
best.
to talk
I
about
remember
this.
you. I remember you, you fat shaming insult guy. You. I remember. Look at you. There you
There he
are
is.
again. There you cute fella. And then as soon as this guy came on the thing, I literally got like the heebie-jeebies. I'm like, don't call him fat. And then all of a sudden, I realized this guy's a fuck. Fat shame the shit out of him.
Might as well jump on his canoe.
It's all shit. Everything I wrote in that is shit that I used to get called, and people are like, "Well, you should be more sensitive because people treated you that way." It's like that's exactly why I'm fucking doing it.
Did you get shamed for fat shaming a murderer? Is that correct? Did people come after you for that? People say you shouldn't be talking shit about this guy, even though he's
no. I'm talking about like just in general. Like if I do make some sort of a because I make them all the time now. This is like, well, yeah, well, fuck you. I lived with it. Now you're fuck you guys. You know. But it's like you say, it's always selected, and it's always to people that you know what you
deserve it.
You deserve this.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not so discerning as you. I do it to little Jimmy because
I was gonna say midgets.
He's
everybody
been pounding on the weight lately. And he bought a shirt. He went into Walmart and grabbed himself a shirt for Grant's wedding, pulled it off the shelf and walked up to the till and rang it in and got on the bus and went home, packed that in his kitchen catcher for the weekend, pulled it out on Saturday at noon and
Not big
couldn't do
enough,
the buttons up. And
The
it's come
shirt's
to the
too small. I'm always
realization
this size.
That a medium isn't going to work on that shit locker anymore. So we talked about that on the air today. And he got called round by somebody who should not be talking about how round he is. We'll just leave it at that. And that, I'll tell you, Linz, because I tease him all the time. I call him Tubby and stuff like that. Hey,
Yeah.
Tubby, how you doing today? And we get into it. And he's my brother, so I kind of get away with it. But
yeah, and he gives it back to you really good too.
This person, he gives it back. This person that called him round recently, he will not let it go. It comes up every day.
Who,
He has
Jimmy?
got- Yes.
Jimmy won't let it go because
He is
another fat
so-
person called him fat.
Yes.
Yeah. What are the rules about that, Linz? I've never been like, have I been shamed for being fat? No. Am I fat now? Not really. A little extra weight. Everybody's got a little extra weight. But like, I feel like like if you're, General Pavel fat, or if
I'm
like if
sorry.
you're
Oh, yeah.
4 or 5,
Sorry.
like I feel like if you're this big, it. Where is the standard for two fat people fat shaming each other? Is there something? Does that happen in the real world?
That's not a gland problem. Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Like, my brother and I, we were at one point, we were not, he was never as big as I ended up getting, but we were like pretty close. And yeah, again, we were brothers, but we had other buddies that were fat too. And people would be like the whole, what's going on, Slim, and what's up, Tiny, kind of shit like that. But it was never.
Oh, those ironic names suck, don't they?
Tiny's the worst, like because I'm tall too. Like I'm 6'3.5". Fuck, I got 400 or 500, and yeah, I was able to carry it off okay, but at the same time, you can tell I was like, that guy's fat. He's a fat.
How much do you think General Gunt weighs?
Yeah,
is that
guy. Well, which is funny because they actually said they estimate he's 280 pounds. I'm like, bullshit, motherfuckers. That's 450 pounds. That's
I'll show you
450.
240.
Is that 450?
That's 450 for sure. 110, 110%. As blue as the sky is, that's at least 450.
Do you know what I noticed that he shared with former fat guy Ryan? Is all the fat that builds up around the cheeks and the eyes,
face?
where the face closes in around the eyes, right?
Yeah.
I can see that. He
Remember
looks
that picture of me?
very healthy. Oh yeah, dude, I felt sorry for you.
Well, yeah, because you just look in pain all the time, even though you're not. It's just
the one where you were on the bike.
Yeah, on the scooter down in Mexico.
That's a great picture of you.
Well, it's because my face is like. I'm trying to find it quick, and it's
you're
true.
a good looking man, though. You were a good looking fat guy too, though.
Yeah, and like I say, I was able to carry it as long as I wasn't squatting or bending over. I was able to carry it well.
Oh, dude, could you even squat or bend over? Like, what were some of the things that like went bye to you when you climbed the scales to like 400 or 500 pounds? Yeah.
No, I just never untied them. I used to do the slip-ons.
Oh.
The back of my heels would always cave in because I used to just jam my feet in, so I didn't have to tie them up. Or I'd have to be somewhere near and it's already hard enough to tie your shoes when you're tall, right? Like it doesn't matter how much you weigh. But then when you have that weight and you have that where your center of gravity on guys is, you're going over, Tubby. Like you're not fucking staying upright to get those shoes done. So,
hey, by the way, just a quick, we've had people say, "What is a gunt?" Ree, who's always in the chat, love this young lady. She explains it perfectly to Rick Love. Rick, a gunt is when you are so fat. I hate this word. Sorry, this is just. The cunt and the gut combine as one. No idea what the R word is. Not sure either. But I say gunt. It's usually gut, and I add the last part just because. That's she's.
You
right.
can only use it when there's a certain shape that it takes.
Yeah, she's right. Yeah, it's that adenoid shape. It's.
I've also heard derb.
Derb.
Just a derb. Like I don't know. It just sounds it just sounds like that looks like
I like Locke called it shit locker. I thought that was a really good one. The old shit locker.
Well, I carry my weight a little higher, right up here. Like when I get fat. It doesn't come out over the belt. But a lot of guys get this shit locker where it goes over the belt. Right?
It hangs over the belt. Yeah. That's what this is now. Now the key to hiding the shit locker, just looking like you're distended, maybe, I don't know, is doing up the belt.
Shirt.
Well, no, it's doing up the belt halfway around the belly, right? So half of this guy's gut. So half of his gut is literally in his pants, and what is underneath, where you see the seam around his pants, what you see there, that's all gut. And then underneath that, somewhere tucked underneath this, whatever this is in the front, is his reproductive organs. Whether or not they are still reproducing or capable to be organs, I would say no.
Those aren't moving.
Do they get like caught
Smelly?
up in the fat?
Well, like
that
enveloped?
looks like they're trying to hide.
They're you wouldn't be able, like if he took his clothes off and was standing there naked, you wouldn't see anything. There would be nothing visible to you would just see fat. Yeah, that would just be rolls.
I've worked with a couple of really big guys like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I noticed was I worked with a 500-pound plus guy in Winnipeg, and then at the Bear I worked with a guy that went online after I left and attempted to do some diet plan, and then announced how much he weighed, because there was always a conversation behind the scenes about how much he potentially weighed, and we were like, and I used to say, he's $5 bills, come on. And everyone was like, no, come on, he can't be more than 350. And I'm like, no. And he came on and he said, I got to 515.
Yeah.
And I said I had to do something about it. And he attempted to. It didn't last. That when you're that big, that's tough, man. That's a tough. Anybody that has any success with weight loss when you get that extreme, I think needs to be seriously.
Lynn's disagreeing with his face right now. You can't see it if you're listening.
You're allowed
Listener,
to.
if you're listening on Apple, Google, Spotify, etc., and it's a podcast, what you're seeing is Lynn's shake his now skinny-headed Lachlan for going, it's probably not accurate.
It's not.
By the way, before I turn it over to Ryan.
He's not wrong. Sorry.
No, before I turn it over to Ryan, just a quick cleanup. Shouldn't have called that guy's fat package a gunt. I have been corrected by your friend Van City. It is called a gawk, by the way. On men, it's a gawk. Totally forgot, slipped my mind. On women, it's the other one. So anyway,
the guns and the gawk, but I also do really like moose knuckle.
Yeah,
that is a good one.
That's like an elephant toe, actually. It's more like.
So I said woolly mammoth. You wrote that thing about the woolly mammoth.
Yeah, 30,000-year-old baby woolly mammoth they found in the Yukon.
The big guys. I don't know if you noticed this, but this one guy drove what was it? What were those cars that were bright yellow, like a Pontiac something or other?
Sunfire.
It might have been
like a 300. Oh, like what? Like in the 80s, 90s?
No, like in the 90s, but they were
the
yellow
Sunfire,
and like a
probably.
Chevy.
Yeah, Sunfire.
Yeah. Anyway, his car in the parking lot.
Even with him out of it, it's probably sat that way.
It was bent.
Dude, every vehicle
What do you mean the car was bent?
It was.
The suspension.
He was a 500-pounder, dude, and he drove around by himself in a car, and it was not an expensive car, and it was literally, you could tell if you looked at the front of the car, kind of like my glasses, where my head's crooked, and you can sort of see, they never sit straight on my face.
Yeah,
you can see if you looked at the front of his car, it was always on the driver's side. There was a tilt, like a good 2-3 inch tilt.
I will give
Linz. Do you have a story about?
Well, I was going to say I will give anybody that is general tons of fun, morbidly obese. A tip is what you need something with sporty suspension, like a 4x4, and then that won't happen. But you know what does happen? Every vehicle that I had during that period, which probably would have been 2 or 3 different cars, if anybody else got in to drive my car, they'd be like,
Gio,
why am I sitting like this? Because when you get in, you throw yourself in because you can't gracefully do anything at that weight, and you sit down. You sit down and you throw yourself into the seat, but it only bends one way. So every seat you have is cockeyed, right? So somebody like Dean's size would get in to try and drive the car, and your hands are like this because your whole body's on like a 45-degree tilt, where you would have to literally shift yourself out and use your core strength to sit straight because you couldn't sit against the backrest of that car. So yeah, just saying, get yourself sporty suspension. That embarrassing lean doesn't happen.
Or a treadmill.
Or you could try walking without driving that car a little bit, and put the fork down. That's
I remember having a conversation about with a couple of people that were bigger, and and it was like there's a denial stage, right? And that's why I know it's a mental illness thing, right? Because it's
very psychological.
I've had it very psychological, and they were like, I don't understand why. I'm like, well, maybe I'll throw this out there. I had 1 Baconator, fries and a Coke. You had 3.
Yeah. This is exactly it.
And
this is
you
what
ate
it
it
is.
faster than I did. And I saw you do it. And then you went in your car and I saw you open up a giant bag of Doritos for the ride home. I don't think any of this is an accident.
It's so true. It is so true. And it's all a matter of
what to do.
Let's just
I'm
put
walking.
How many? Can I ask you something? How many people that big? This big? How many of those people actually are honest and go, it's not a Glenn problem. I fucking love chips.
I lie to myself all the time about my drinking problems, so there's that, right?
Yeah.
It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, it's the exact
right?
same thing. And it's one of those, and where you
I
will
look
say,
around the corner to see if my wife's watching, to see if I'm taking a bottle of booze at noon to put in my coffee.
Do you hide?
Listening to see if she's on.
I'm going to ask you a question, dude. We dealt with Ryan. I've dealt with me a million times. You hiding booze these days? Do you hide booze? Do you sneak booze?
I will occasionally.
So yes, thank you very much.
Yes, I will occasionally look around a corner.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. I remember one time I filled one bottle of vodka with water. This is years ago. Filled a bottle with water, and my ex-girlfriend, she goes and she takes a sniff. She's like, "You filled this up with water?" I'm like, "No, I didn't."
That's just a shitty one. I'm
She
bringing
goes,
it back.
"I tasted it. It's water." I go, "You're wrong." She's like, Are you serious right now? I go, "Yeah, try it again." So she
All
tries
I'm
it again,
doing-
and she's like,
You're a
"I'm confused
gaslighter.
because I taste water, but you seem very convinced that this is vodka." And I've had vodka a million times. So I'm like, "You got me. I'm lying."
See, for
I
me,
would have drove that right to the end. Be like, no, I'm bringing that back to the liquor store.
My face was getting hot. I was like all stressed out. I'm like, she got me. I totally filled it up with
They
water
ripped
because I'm
me
a
off.
degenerate. So I had to do it because I didn't want to worry her or make her think I didn't want her yet getting mad at me for drinking like half a 26 of vodka last night. So I was like, that's not water. It's like Eddie Murphy. Right when
Sean
the
O'Shea
story was like, where someone comes in and he catches like a spouse cheating on him. She's like, "Hey, I saw you having sex with that girl." I was like, "Wasn't me." It's the same thing. No, there's water in there. No, there isn't. And I'm like, she got me. I totally know there is. I'm totally lying. And I'm one of those people when I tell a lie, I'm like, it sits right in front of my face where I'm like, I got to get it out of the way. Sorry, I totally lied. But I held it for like a good 30 seconds before I crumbled. I'm like, you're right. I lied totally.
I would have drove that bus right to the. I'm
couldn't
calling
do it.
Sean O'Shea
I'm
from
not a
Consumer
bus driver on
SOS.
lies.
We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Somebody's ripped
I'd
me
rather
up.
avoid the conversation. But there's some days where it's just like, we're camping. It's 10 a.m. We're camping.
Camping's different,
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same thing with when you were watching the World Juniors a couple years ago. 6 a.m, 8 beers. Your wife's like, "It's 6 a.m," and you go, "It's the World Juniors." I used to do the same thing all the time.
Well,
she's
actually,
like, "Why are you having a Caesar at 8 a.m. on a Saturday?" I go, "Canada Day's tomorrow." She's like, "No, it's not for another month." I'm like, something.
Next week while Locke's on holidays, he's gonna be like, "It's Wednesday."
They were playing the World Juniors. Actually, that story is not. You have the information wrong. So that was a European thing, and they were playing at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was the start of the tournament. It was before. It was like Boxing Day, not the end of the tournament. Canada was playing like the U.S. or Russia or something. And I set the alarm and I got up and I came downstairs. I turned the TV on and I had bought beer the night before, but I had bought a 12-pack of beer and it was sitting in the fridge not far away from the TV. And they score a goal and I'm like, fuck. And it doesn't feel right to be watching hockey without a beer. I mean, listen, I know I'm an alcoholic, but there are certain things that happen in your life where you're like, I need a beer.
Yeah.
So
like
I
this
started
podcast.
going to the fridge and getting beers. Well, my wife sleeps in. She's not like an early riser. And she comes downstairs and it's literally 2 minutes left in the game. And she's looking at me with concern. And I've like I'm not keeping count because I'm hiding the empties behind the couch and shit. She comes around the corner and she goes, "Do you know you've had 11 beer?" And I went, "You mean there's one left? Can you go get it for me?"
You did not.
Did you crack
Yeah,
it
I
right
did.
in front of her face after that too, and just keep watching the
I
game?
didn't. No.
He did none of that. That's a lie. That whole story is a lie. Right at the end.
You're such a better person than me. It's unbelievable. You have massive balls. If my ex-girlfriend or anyone I was with came down and saw that I had hammered 10 beers at 6 o'clock in the morning,
because there was one left.
Well, you only
keep
hammered
getting
10.
the math wrong.
And then she said to me, "Hey, did you really drink 10 beers at 6 o'clock in the morning?" or because there's one beer left. The's only one beer left. And she comes back and says that to you, and your answer is, and I quote, "You mean there's one left?
Can you go get it for me?
Can you go grab it, babe? Hey, babe.
Babe.
Oh,
Babe, I'm too drunk to get up. Can you just go get
I want to
that
be
for
you,
me?
dude. When I come back, I want to be you. When I come
You know
back,
you have
as,
a problem when
as another person, I want to come back as you with the size of your marital nutsack. It is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. I would be deathly afraid to answer that question. In fact, I would probably just go, "I've got a problem. I'm just going to go upstairs to my room." You're right. But you're like, "Babe, there's one more, babe. Go grab it for me, would you? Daddy's thirsty."
I don't think I said daddy's thirsty.
I think that's what you said.
I know where the line is.
Babe, daddy's parched. Hit it.
I walk up to the line.
Bring me a frosty toots. Is that
You
what
might touch it with your toe a little bit.
Yeah.
Bring
We
me a
had an
frosty.
air check today, a brief air check from somebody from head office, and that was one of the things that they brought up. You guys are really good at walking up to the line. And I went, "You mean you haven't been here long enough to hear us crossing it and swimming in the pools of
Of that line crossing. Yeah, we dive into that ocean system. That's what we do. Anyway, thanks for doing this, boys. It was a great show today. It was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I'm glad we got a chance to see Alex this week.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's important, right? I feel like Alex is one of those guys that makes me better when I see him.
Yeah.
Even though the subject matter is so hard, right? And I today was the first day that I kind of thought, I don't know if I can do it today, right? And then I thought how fucking selfish that was. So I was incredibly fucking selfish.
Well,
to think that I couldn't have- and then I got so much out of it because it was awesome.
You
So-
say the right thing though. It's true, but it gives us that perspective that most people, like they're saying, people are forgetting about this war. We can't, because we have a friend there and that we talk to on a weekly basis, and we bring them to talk to our friends in the comments and everybody that watches the show and listens on the podcast.
And we can't give up on that. We can't give up on Alex.
No.
We have to keep going. And you know what? It's okay though to have a moment, Dean, where you're, this one's going to be hard today. It's okay to, right? And I did not feel any pressure to, but I know when you called me and said, "We got Alex on lock, I'm going to need you. We're going to have to make this light." Right. I know my role, and that's important to make sure we do that. And I don't want to give up on him. And he's too important. I think we got to keep in touch, and it's going to be hard. We're going to have harder days, I think, because this isn't going to fucking go away anytime soon. That cock, until someone finds a way of shooting him in the head, is going to just keep doing this.
Pootler, you're talking about Pootler, just in case there are some regulatory people out there going, shooting people in the head. Let's report him to YouTube. We're talking about Putin. So, and I think YouTube's cool with that kind of conversation.
That's the only world leader you're allowed to threaten.
Just Pootler.
I
think it's on the list. Anyway, thanks for doing this, boys. It was great. It was a great show.
Go buy one of
Great
those
to have
shirts,
Alex.
everybody.
Yeah.
You can get these at deanblundell.com. You can also just donate if you don't want a shirt, but these shirts are actually unbelievably comfortable.
They're awesome
and really great quality. But if you go to deanblundell.com, you can not only buy the shirt, buy the flag, buy the sticker, make a statement, buy a nice shirt. Comes in a million different colors. We got women's, we got men's, we got it all. But if you're not feeling it, you don't want to buy anything, and consumerism isn't your bag, baby, what you do is you donate to Alex in Ukraine by going to the shop, deanblundell.com. Top of the header, you click shop, and you can just donate on this Hey Russian Warship, Go Fuck Yourself flag. It's there. It just says donate to Alex. And again, all that money we sent him a few grand last month. Yeah, I do too.
100%. 100% goes to him. So
yeah,
that's a great way to do it.
It sure is. Thanks, boys. Appreciate you doing this today. That is Ryan Lindley, Sheeple Shepherd.
Thank
you can subscribe to his podcast at Ryan Lindley on Twitter is where you can find him. That's my friend Lachlan Cross as well. Host of the Locker Room, 957 Cruise FM at Edmonton is where you can find him. Follow him at Lachlan Cross on Twitter. Thanks, boys. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Locke's last day for a couple of weeks. You know where he's going, and this is fascinating. He really is. He's going to some kind of a communal living facility, so he can learn to live well with others.
That's not true. I'm going to pack a trailer up with a bunch of booze, and we're
Who's doing
going into
that?
the mountains.
Yeah. But anyway, look
We're
forward to it
camping,
tomorrow.
honey.
Yeah. Yeah. Honey, it's Lachlan. It's 7 a.m. We're camping.
We're camping.
And my birthday is in 3 months. So there's that.
You know?
All right, boys.
Okay, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. There you go. Thanks,
See you,
Linz.
pal.
We'll talk to you soon, pal.
See you very early. Take care.
See it early. Yeah. Tomorrow morning, you know where we're going to be?
Very early. We're going to be somewhere. I don't think we're not giving it away. I don't think, are we? We just want to tell people to watch.
I don't mind telling people now. We're going to be at the Joe Carter tournament at some point tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon.
Huge. It's going to be such a great show. Tomorrow's show, you have to be here to see.
Yeah, you do. So we're really excited because Rod Black and the crew, Joe Carter, really excited to see these guys. Kind enough to invite us down and allow us to kind of go back in time a little bit, talk to a few people, Paul Coffey, Doug Gilmore, Kenny Lofton, some of your heroes, just real heroes, like sporting heroes from your past, and some from your present, and they're going to raise some money for Children's Aid. So we're really excited to be involved in that, and we'll be broadcasting live from there tomorrow. So look for us there. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thanks, bud. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
You bet. We'll see you tomorrow morning. There's Ryan Lindley from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast is where you can find him. Special thank you to our friends at kivlaw.ca. If you're looking for someone to help you fight the legal system, navigate the legal system, walk you through the legal system, my friend Rob Kivlikin is the guy, the only cat I trust. And I swear to God, if you're suing us, he's your guy. You got to call him, kivlaw.ca, because he's going to take care of us. He'll take care of you, too. A lot of people have a tough time. You want to get your life back. Maybe you don't want to risk your future by pleading guilty to your charges. If you need a criminal defense lawyer, legal help 24/7. Top criminal defense lawyers in Toronto. Go to kivlaw.ca. Kivlaw defense lawyers, they will help you. That is what they do. He knows his clients need honest answers, and that is what Rob and his group do. So again, if you need any legal help at all, go to kivlaw.ca. That's where you can find Rob today. Thanks to our friends at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible as well. Go to easyautofinancial.ca today. If you're looking to finance a vehicle, you have a hard time with your financing, your credit rating not great, even if it's good. They take care of everything, and they're ninjas for subprime stuff. So if you got a bad credit rating, bruised or not, easyautofinancial.ca. They're in the business of getting you a car. That's what they do, friends. Make sure you sign up. Wonderful people, too. Altruism at its vehicular finest. That's what I like to call it. I just made that up on the scene. Not bad, though, huh? And, of course, Ed at Ed's Fine Imports. edsfineimports.com. Go there today. Check out Ed's Gitch. He's got Gitch, Gitch. That is the thing that you need to do. GITCH3 is a promo code, by the way. That's the thing you need to do if you're a dude. You need to go to Ed's Fine Imports. You need to order a bunch of underwear. They're the best pants you'll ever bet. It's like, I call them wiener pants. Some people I call men's Gitch wiener pants. Anyone? Bueller? No one else? Anyway, get your wiener pants. They're called Gitch. GITCH is the promo code. GITCH3, actually. That's the number 3, GITCH. Boxer briefs, luxury branded underwear. Made in Canada by my friend Ed. They're his gear. And you need to get them on you. And he's got a massive online store as well. And look for like special deals and promo codes, 15% off, and a ton of different daily deals and promo codes. So if you're in the market for a blazer and it's seasonal and it's already marked down like 50%, take another 15% off. You'll have a bunch of those deals and promo codes there, but go look for them at edsfineimports.com. Clothing for men and boys. Online, he'll send them to you. Great guy, too. Like one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Anyway, that's it for us. We're again back tomorrow. We'll see you live from the Joe Carter Celebrity Golf Classic, Joe Carter Tournament in support of Children's Aid Society. They've raised, so much money. So much money. Like unbelievable. Millions of dollars. And we're going to raise millions more because Joe and the folks at TD and Callaway all get together and they say, hey, let's do this. It's had a hiatus for a couple of years because of the pandemic. So we're really excited to bring that to you tomorrow. We'll be broadcasting live from there. We'll see you then. Follow us at DeanBlundell.com for all those details. You can go to our YouTube channel as well. Don't forget, subscribe to that Dean Blundell Show on YouTube, Dean Blundell TV on Twitch, and wherever you get your fine podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, etc. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.